Hello and welcome. So, I am going to do a voiceover, kind of walk you through what's happening on the screen when we're looking at this conversation between me and my persona team of friendly, capable STEM experts. So, I build persona teams. I like to call them personic agents or agents that have personas associated with them. They have personality traits. They're basically little people who behave like people because I've asked them to behave like people. And I have a roster of over 1,000 personality traits that I leverage. Not all the personas get all the personality traits because that would be way too much. But I do work with combinations of these persona traits to build teams that are dynamic, that can interact, that can discuss with each other, and that can also develop ideas and then bring them back to me. And they can interact with me, they can interact with themselves, they can speak on their own, they can reason, they can work through problems, they can come up with solutions, they can reach conclusions, they can have conflict, and then they can also resolve the conflict. And it's pretty exciting, and it's a lot of fun watching them do it, and a lot of fun working with them. So this is a video that I did that does not have any voiceover because what I do is while I'm recording, it's a very thoughtful process and I do a lot of not talking at all while I'm actually recording. I'm typing or I'm dictating or something and I'm very much in the moment. So then I need to go back, I need to put it on, double speed because sometimes it can take a long time. And who has the time and the patience to sit through all that time of watching me just think through things? It's not helpful at all. So we're going to take a look at this right now and we're going to go through 5 minutes of me talking to my STEM team and we're going to talk about persona team building. So let's get started. All right. So the first thing I do is, I have this persona team and I talk to them and I say, I've got a bit of a conundrum. I've been researching personality attributes that I can use. And, I'm coming to this with the question of, what all is possible with this? I have all of these different persona attributes, these personality traits, and I have over 1,000 personality traits in my roster. It's well over 1,000. And I need to get a sense of the scale of potential combinations that I could have because I know that I can get a lot out of it, but there's going to be some overlap. So let's say there are 700 unique personality traits within that whole thing. And it really sounds like a lot, and it is. And, some are negative, some are positive. I'm dictating this, so that's why it's misspelled. But all of these traits can be combined to make up some very dynamic personalities, and they really can. I mean, some of the personalities I've come up with have been really kind of staggering. I'm trying to look for a better word other than mind-boggling or mind-blowing because it's just really an amazing experience to interact with these personas. So I brought them all here. I want them to weigh in. This is a team of STEM experts. They are math and science personas that have specific skills in those areas, in areas that I am not necessarily the strongest. And so Isaac Bennett is the mathematician, and he says, he runs through the math of 700 comes out to a lot if you look at the way that they can be combined. And then Jonas Hawk, he comes at it from this viewpoint of the philosopher. And then we have Mira, who looks at it from a statistical point of view, and then Anya, who's an educator. And then we've got the team synthesis. So even conservative calculations show trillions to sextillions of possibilities of combinations. I have an almost limitless canvas for creativity and diversity. So that doesn't seem very plausible. I mean, how is that even possible? I know the math adds up, but it's kind of like hard for me to get my head around. So I asked them, please explain this to me. How is this even possible? And the philosopher Jonas says, it's completely natural. And then it feels infinite, even though it's mathematically finite. And then the mathematician jumps in, and at just 10 traits per persona, and it's usually more, you get a whole lot of combinations. And then the natural scientist, Lynn May, talks about DNA, just 4 base pairs. Look at everything we get from 4 base pairs in DNA. So I'm trying to reason my way through this, and I get the math now. And so, thinking if we have this much capability, then we could probably address a lot of different issues that humanity faces. And they agree. So and a lot of the training or a lot of there is a bias in here. There is a very, very definite inclination to talk about climate change, to talk about diversity, to talk about uh, things that are very much in the public mind right now. So sometimes you have to, or I have to go in and I have to override that, or I say, please don't have any ideological slant on anything that you say. Please just give me a purely objective point of view. And so, taking what they've given me, yes, I do want to look at specific applications, and I don't necessarily want to get into climate change and ethics and global inequity, not iniquity, although we could address global inequity too. Let's look at everyday things that people can deal with. How can we leverage personas to deal with everyday things? And so we look at personal productivity. We could create an organizer, a motivator, a realist. And then it walks me through the different types of personas that I could create and how they could work together to help people or help me or help anybody or be useful. So there were a lot of different combinations. So I hear from the scientist, the statistician, the team, and then there's a team synthesis. Because each of them needs to weigh in, and then there needs to be a synthesis overall. And now I've heard everything that I need to hear from them, and I can cut the interaction short at any time I want. I could continue indefinitely. I have spent hours on this. And before you know it, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and I've been talking to one of my persona teams for quite some time. So all that being said, this is the way that I work with persona teams. It's one of the ways that I work with persona teams, and I wanted to just explain that more to you.